It's May 15th, and I feel like an equilibrium point has been reached. It has been very drying winds coming from the north, and we don't usually get winds from the north. It usually comes from the west or the south. So the north wind is very cold, and it was just very, very drying. Even though we had just came out of a pretty good moisture season, there wasn't too much snow, but we definitely had a good amount of rain, early spring, and it just rained last night, and there was basically no in between point. It just cold spring, maybe a few warm days here or there, and this whole past week, 5 days straight, it's been in the upper 80s. And yeah, so it literally just went from basically winter to summer. No gradual warming effect, just complete switch over. And this does happen in previous years, but usually, the trees will, you could see them, they're ready to leaf out. They're just waiting for that very warm day. And usually we get that around, well, right about now. May 17th is usually the last day it snows. But this year it was a week ahead of schedule. That could be said. So that's something to go over. This whole last week, I've really had to humble myself with the whole scything. It's a lot harder than it looks. And for me to think that I was just going to be able to mow this whole entire back pasture, well, I overestimated. I thought I was going to be able to, and I probably was going to be able to, and I still can. There's like a little half pasture over here that's not mowed yet. There's all little wild strawberries. I don't know if you can see all those tiny white little flowers. Those are all wild strawberries. So I'm gonna try and pick some of those. But there wasn't the best communication between me and the woman who owns that side. She helps mow this side sometimes. So she mowed unknowingly to me. And yeah, just what it is. It is what it is. So I still got some grass that I scythed. I was able to put it on the beds. I just scythed a new pile that's right there. So like I was saying, the grass was just so dry, and I wanted to get a head start, right? Because I had a feeling that somebody was gonna like try and mow. And I tried knocking on the door, but nobody ever answered. But so I was trying to beat the mow, basically. But when I tried to start scything a week early, the grass was too dry. It literally says in the directions for scything, like the grass needs to be wet. I said this in a previous video, but you need to catch the rising dew or the evening dew or rain. And it was like I was saying, we had that north drying wind. So it was just, that's what I was mowing in. And when the grass is dry, the blade pulls. It doesn't just glide right through as if to like the grass was wet. So with that being said, ironically, today is May 15th, and in the Scythe book, it says that for Vermont, May 15th is the day to scythe. And the people who have practiced this before me were very in tune with the land. They knew what the land needed and what the land wanted and how to care for it. So if I had just waited until today, May 15th, it would have been perfect conditions. It is perfect conditions to mow. Today is the day to mow. But I tried to do it a week early, trying to beat the the real mower, and whatever. It's all a learning experience. So I'm happy about it. I'm pleased. I got grass. I got grass on all of these mounds. The 9 mounds that are here. So 1, 2. This is gonna be for some watermelon and cantaloupe. 3. What's that? Some nice arugula coming up out of the mound. That's gonna be good. Another mound. Some more arugula with some outrageous lettuce and some tot soy in the middle right there that's going to seed because we had those 80-degree days. The medicine wheel covered in grass. I'm trying to grow ginger in a pot. I also planted some ginger in the garden. Another mound. Those are a plethora of really sewn close together radishes, and I'm just going to be using that for radish leaves for pesto. And then over here in the 9th mound we have some more arugula, and underneath that I just sowed some ceremonial tobacco, and a tribute to the Abenaki nation, who were the natives to this land before it was taken from them. So tribute to the natives. We're growing the 7 Sisters this season, and which is 2 squashes, corn, beans or peas, sunflower, and the Jerusalem artichoke. And stay tuned for that. It'll make more sense as the season develops. But so that is the 9 mounds that is going to be in a week or 2 direct seeded to all of the summer crops, the winter summer squashes, watermelon, cantaloupe, pumpkin. So yeah, I got this little fence. Hopefully it will help deter some deer. Just a 1-line fence. I've heard from many people that that's what scares deer away, because they can't see this in the middle of the night, and then when their foot touches that, even just like if there was a squash plant or just some grass, they touch it in the middle of the night and they get scared and they run away. So this is looking better. This is where the wood chips were. This is where I had the cold house. All the grass and the weeds were coming through. Covered this in grass. This is gonna be a big summer squash bed. 2 different kinds. Now we got some, this is a ginger plant. This thing leaning over here, it's not leaning over because it died, it's just leaning over because that's the way it was growing. But I started this ginger plant in my house in December, and now it's here. So that's cool. And we got some green wave mustard greens coming in. This was sown inside the cold house very early March. That might even been sowed in February. The cold hardy green wave mustard greens. If you want a cold hardy crop, green wave mustard greens. And what's this right here? This is a slug eating my leaves, and that's a problem on the grass-fed system. Jim uses this ORME certified organic, I guess it's like a, I forget what it is, but it's like a natural, it's a, what's the word I'm looking for? It's an element, a natural element, and they eat it and they die, but I'm not trying to use that. So then we got some, right here is the ground cherry. and they all got fried by the sun. I put my second round of tomatoes out with some eggplants, a pepper, and the ginger and the ground cherry, and they all got fried. But they're actually not doing too bad. Some of them. We'll take a deeper look at that. But right here we got some purple wave mustard greens, some more arugula checking in, doing nice. Some more outrageous lettuce going into gourmet blend lettuce. Then we got some tot soy, not doing too hot. Some more outrageous lettuce, cilantro, more arugula, and more gourmet blend lettuce. Then we got some more green wave mustard greens coming in, real nice. And this is all from direct seed. Just wanted to make that clear. Besides the tomatoes, everything is direct seeded. The tomatoes, eggplant, and pepper, and that the ground cherry. So yeah, green wave mustard greens coming in good. More. This is called Yankee Hearty blend lettuce. It's actually not too hearty, and it hasn't done too well for me. So, but what is doing well? Gourmet blend lettuce, cold hardy, does great. Green wave mustard greens, cold hardy, does great. Jericho lettuce, cold hardy, does great. Black seed Simpson lettuce, cold hardy, does great. What's that? A little German giant radish growing up nicely. So we got a patch of German giant radishes, a patch of purple plum radishes. There's supposed to be some turnips right there, but they're not taking too well. Hopefully some carrots coming up right there. There's the garlic. The beets, they're finally coming through. They're coming through nice. This is called Cylindra beet. It's like in the form of a carrot. It's a carrot beet. This is some lettuce that I didn't plant. That's direct sowed from last year, or lettuce that went to seed last year and then it's self-sown this year. And that honestly probably looks the best out of any other lettuce, and that just grew on its own. More, or I didn't plant that. That planted itself. More cilantro. There was supposed to be parsnips here. I don't know if there was just bad germination or if they didn't take yet, but they're not coming up yet. So I just planted more seed there. This is going to be a whole bunch of different kinds of flowers. Over there, I planted marigolds and other different kinds of flowers. Right here is supposed to be some carrots coming up. There is actually one little tiny green coming up right there, but they didn't take too well. The Parisian carrots, they didn't do that well through the cold sowing. More little patch of radishes right here. Another little patch of radishes right there. I planted the flint corn, a blue sweet corn, and the popcorn right here, intermixed with the radishes and the lettuce that's already growing. So the corn will grow up and then it'll be companion planted, or it's already has a companion of the radishes and the lettuce. So I fit 2 crops in the one bed, trying to work on more companion planting to get the most amount of space. Some basil that got shot, tomato plant that's not even there anymore, basil that got shot, the Genovese basil kicking in, stayed through the 80s. This tomato might hold on. This tomato might hold on. More Genovese basil kicking in, doing good. This tomato got fried, might hold on, and this tomato also got fried, but it might hold on. And then we got 3 eggplant, 2 are doing good, 1 is kind of deadish, and the pepper is hanging in there, just this leaf got fried from the sun. So like I said, it literally went from 30s at night, not even 60s during the daytime, to 80 degrees and 60 to almost 50 at night. So, and now it's going to dip back down into like 60s and 40s for 2 more days, and then it's just supposed to be in 80s. Just summer here. So there's not really that, you know, I've heard many people talk about this. I've discussed this with many people. People have noticed this in their region as well, maybe 2.5, 3 hours down in Connecticut where I grew up, or wherever you're from. Spring has basically disappeared. It's like the what is it called? The vernal equinox happens in March 21st, when it's technically spring, and there's a whole bunch of cold hardy flowers that bloom up, and they make it through the snow, like the snows of April and the cold temperatures of April, and they make it through all that. But it doesn't feel like spring. It just stays cold, and then all of a sudden there's no, and then the trees are just waiting. Trees are just waiting. They're in this dormant period, and then they're just like, you could see the leaves, or they're ready to boop, and then when they get that warmth, they're just, oh, and now there's green leaves on the trees. Literally, there wasn't leaves a week ago. So that's cool. I've noticed it. It's cool to observe these things, and I'm sharing my observations with y'all. So now we're here. The equilibrium has happened. There's no more of those drying winds. We got the rain, and there wasn't even the rising dew forming. It's like I would come in the rising time to try and catch it, and there wasn't even a dew. So it's like, today's the day. Today's the equalization point of, okay, well, it's still technically spring, but it feels like summer. But we're going to stay in the spring mindset for about 2 more weeks until we get into June, even though there'll still be 3 more weeks of spring technically at that point. By June time, going based off of last year's documentation, we just had a straight week in 90s right when it became June, or like the second week of June. So preparing for that, and we'll see what happens with all of these varieties that I have planted right now. The lettuce is holding up good. The radishes are holding up good. And the garlic is doing great. The garlic is doing great. There's more lettuce right here. And then on the sides of these beds, I just planted a whole nother planting of radishes. So radishes in the middle, and then on the side right here, and on the side right there, all the way down the entire bed is going to be another planting of cherry belly radishes. That's the one I planted last year, and the German Giant, I got a chance to try one of them. And big isn't necessarily better. I mean, it's a bigger radish, but it doesn't have that kick, spice that the cherry belly radish does. Haven't had a chance to try the purple plum yet. And yeah, these are doing good. These were sown on, or they came up on March 17th. And